Hello everyone, today we are going to do another coding challenge. I decided to just start doing challenges on HackerRank as opposed to reading from that book, because that book got really computer sciencey really quickly, so it was a little advanced. So I'm going to be doing the easy problems on HackerRank for right now, at least. So this is our first problem. John works at a clothing store. He has a large pile of socks that he must pair by color for sale. Given an array of integers representing the number of each sock, determine how many pairs of socks with matching colors there are. For example, there are n equals 7 socks, so given 7 socks here, there's one pair per color. There is one pair of color 1 and one pair of color 2, So it's basically each one of these numbers represents a sock, and then we're supposed to count up the pairs. So this one has a pair of ones, like each of these two socks, each number represents a sock, so each of these two would be a pair, and these two would be a pair, and then we'd have one left over, and one color 2 left over, and one color 3 left over. So we must complete the function below. Must return an integer representing the number of matching pairs that the socks are available. So all I've done is I've actually just read through the problem. I haven't actually attempted it yet, so I'm just going to try and do it on the fly here. The first line contains an integer, number of socks. Okay, input. The first line contains an integer n, a number of socks represented in the array. The second line contains n space separated integers describing the colors array index of the star. Separate integer. Okay. Strange output format. Return the total number. Sample input be 9. Okay, so because they have so many different languages, sometimes this isn't 100% accurate in JavaScript, like having this separate inputs. Sometimes they just put it all in one array. So I'm actually the first thing I'm going to do is I think it looks like, they have two separate arguments. So the first one is going to be the number of socks represented. So n is just going to be the length of the array. Second line contains n space separated integers describing the colors. So it's a bunch of, so we get, this just says the number of things in the array, and then these actual numbers we have to match. So let's see here. Alright, how are we going to do this? I don't need a console log. Okay. Let's try and figure out a way that we could do this. So what I could do is iterate over the array. I guess the first thing to do would be to tally up the number of each different type of number we have, and then see how many times 2 can be divided into each of those tallies. Right? So it seems like that. So what we could do is that we can create an object. Create an object to called counts of sock colors. Check the or divide the counts by 2. Sum the results. So we'll count all the different, just a tally of how many different socks we have of any particular color, and then we'll just divide each of those tallies by 2, and then we'll just add up the result of dividing those by 2, so figuring out how many pairs there are and then how many total pairs there are. Results of division. Okay, so first thing we have to do is just tally up so how would I do that? We just have to tally up the socks. So I could, oops. I've been finding that just planning it out with the comments first before actually getting into the code helps a lot. Because once you just figure out the process, the code is just kind of easy to implement once you figure out the actual algorithm for solving the problem. So create an object to hold the count of the sock colors. So what we could do is we'll create the object. I won't write that down, but we'll iterate over the array if sock color already in object count, else create color on object whoop there we go. Create color on object and set to 1. Okay, so this seems like it'd be a good use for the reduce function. So I'm gonna say we're gonna let our I'm gonna call this the color tally. We're gonna let that equal the result of AR dot reduce. And then, so reduce takes a callback. The first argument to the callback is the accumulator. I think I spelled that right. Accumulator. And then the second argument to the callback is going to be the actual item, the array item. So I'm going to call that color, even though it's a number. And then we will do that. Make an arrow function. Okay, so whatever I return from here, and we'll initialize it to an empty object. So the second argument to the reduce is the first argument's the callback, and then the second argument is if you want to initialize the accumulator, you can initialize it with the second thing. So right now we're initializing accumulator is going to be an empty object at for the first iteration. So we will make so all we need to do is if okay, well we can follow our thing here. So we're iterating over the array, which is good. That's what our reduce is doing. So I can leave that there. So now inside of here, we need if sock color is already in the object, increase count. So what we could do is say if accumulator dot color Can you do that? Can you put, I think I'd have to make it into strings, wouldn't I? I could still do that though. Yeah, we'll do it like that. So color, if accumulator.color. So if it exists on there, equal to color. I might have to, well no, because this is the value and I don't want to check the value, I want to actually check the name. So maybe I could do, what would be the best way to do this? I don't want to, I know it's a common thing to like actually just with the algorithm, but I don't want to cheat. I want to try to come up with it for myself. So I could just look it up, the actual thing, but I'm trying to, this is actually the job interview, like set of challenges from HackerRank. So I want to actually try to do it by myself. It's also how you get good, is you don't just look up stuff like that other people have done. You try to figure it out. At least when you're doing this kind of stuff. Okay. So right now, if accumulator I think I could use in though. If, yeah, let's look up the in operator. JS in operator. I think that works. You can tell this is, yeah, returns true if the specified property is in the specified object or its property chain. So if yeah, so we can say if the color is in accumulator, we will just say accumulator color plus plus plus. So that'll increase it. Else, we can just say accumulator dot color equals 1. So that'll create a property on there if it doesn't already exist. So let's just test that out real quick. See if this works. We'll take the else, put that in there. So all I need to do, so there's our reduce. And then we'll just console log out the, well, then we need to return accumulator. And then we will console log out the color tally. So, whoop. My output is undefined, okay. So, what's going on with the output? What if I just have it return? Well, hold on now. Output, debug out. Okay, wait, here we go. The color is nan. Yeah, that's not good. That's. But we do have 1, 1. See, these should be like 2 and 3. So colors nan. So it's creating them at least once. So if colored in accumulate, okay, but this isn't working right here. It just keeps hitting the else. So if color, let's try to convert it to a string real quick. I wonder if that has something to do with it. Oh, no. Okay. Another error. It's yelling at us for something here, yeah. I'm gonna get rid of that. My neighbor's playing piano. Okay, it's still making this color. We gotta figure that out. It's making a color, actual color. So that's not working. All right, let's look again. We're almost there. So it's making the properties on the array, which is good. It's just not tallying them correctly. Let's see, does this actually ever pass? Keep hitting save. We'll run that again. We'll just see what the value of color is when it's actually passing. Did I break it? Infinite loop? Possibly. Nope. Let's look here. Debug output. Okay. Ah, so, and actually, okay. So, it passed 10 3 times. So, the value, okay, so it's actually been passed, it passes the ones that it needs to. 10, 20, 30. There's only one instance of 30 and one instance of 50. So those would only pass once. So you wouldn't even need to, because it creates the parts, but then it never shows up again. So it would never get put output. So something's going on with our, maybe I, instead of doing the dot, I should do the brackets here. Let's see if that fixes it. Stick to bracket notation. 4, 3, 2. Yep, sweet. All right. So 10 is showing up as the number 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's right. And 20 is 1, 2, 3. Sweet. Cool. All right, we got that working. So I can get rid of that console log. I wonder if I need this string here, or if it'll just convert it to a string. I don't know if I need to actually. Dang it! Keep hitting save. I wonder if it'll. I think putting in the brackets just converts it to a string anyway. Come on. Yeah, so that worked. So we got our output here. Okay, cool. So next thing is we have our color tally object now. So we can divide them by 2. So we could say 4. We could use a for in loop. I think it's 4. Yeah, for in. For color in color tally. So for each of these we can let's make an array to hold the results of our divisions. So we'll say let pair count equal an array. Well, do I want to make it an array, or should I just make it our color tally object? Well, I can make an array because it doesn't actually it doesn't matter what the actual, yeah, we're just supposed to return the total number of matching pairs of socks John can sell. He doesn't care what color is what, so we could just make it an array at this point. They're just numbers. So yeah, we'll just make it an array, and then we'll do a for loop. So we will, so we'll take pair count dot push color divided by 2. Actually, that might not work. We could use the well, we could divide by 2, but then we'll push the math dot floor, so it'll round it down. So whatever crazy fractional number this will return, it'll just bring it down to whatever how many pairs there actually were. So we have that, and then we will do one more pair count reduce, and we will do another function accumulator. we'll do a, and then the num. Initialize it to 0, and then we'll just return the accumulator plus num, and that'll reduce it down to whatever number, and then we'll just return that number. It'll be an integer. I think this will work. Let's find out. Yep, something broke. Okay, let's look here. Pair probably helps if I spell it right. Pair count. Okay, my output was 55. So what if we, let's go ahead and output our, let's go ahead and output that. Stop hitting save every time. Okay, so our output is 5, 10, 15, and 25. I'm not doing that division correctly. Ah, I see. So it's just finding that number and then dividing it by 2. So let's actually go back and figure out what our, we'll go, again with the save. All right. So it's 4. 2 goes into 4 2 times. Why is that showing up as 5? So we have our color tally for color in color tally. Ah, we're only doing color. We need to do color. Well, hold on. Ah, no, that's what we need to do. We need to access it because this is converting. It's the string 10. That's what's happening. So color is the property, which is the actual string 10. That's our label. But because we're doing math with it, it's coercing it to a number, and it's just dividing 2 into 10, which is 5. That's why that's happening. So what we can do instead is we'll reference the object, and then we'll use that same bracket notation, bracket notation to access the color property on the object, which will then return the actual tallied numbers. So if we just get the object and then access the color on it like that, this will return the number 4 because we're taking the object we created and then we're accessing using bracket notation. So I'm going to run this again. I think it'll pass this time. Yep, sweet, passes. Let's submit it. And yeah, we did it. Sweet. All right, cool. Well, that was it for today's daily coding challenge. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Stay tuned for another one.